Hello. Where's the music? Almost started too late. Thank you for tuning in. I love this song by Charles Holt. It's about I am. That's the name of it. That's the title of it. It's about isness, amness, being, existence. Amen, I am, Om. That's kind of a transcendental, meditative term. Do you know who you are? That's what we constantly ask you each week. My thing is self-actualization. Becoming actually, factually, functionally who you are. And punctually, right on time, right on target, right in tune. Who is that? Before I formed you, Scripture says, in the womb I knew you. There was an intimate relationship with you in creation. You knew God and was known of God or creation or creator. Even if you don't want to personalize it, you just want to make it scientific. You come from something. You're a combination of a lot of ways, a lot of maze, a lot of thinking, a lot of ideas, a lot of intelligence, a lot of divine awareness, a new openness, a new peace, a new special self-actualization. I love that. Tonight we're going to talk about time, or whatever time you're listening to this streaming consciousness broadcast. Each week I like to stimulate your thinking, ask questions, answer questions, and then question answers. I do that constantly. I've been giving rote answers for many, many years. And over the last 10 or 12, I've stopped just giving candid or canned answers. I'm talking a lot about new wine for new wineskins. The new wine is already in the planet. It's already happening. Many people call it new thought, or some even are actually go so far as to call it new age. And everybody gets all upset about it, new age. This is the new age. Jesus referred to a new age when he said, I will be with you to the end of the age. I'm with you always, even to the end of the age, which means he would transcend to the next age. The King James says even to the end of the world, but that's a mistranslation of the word cosmos. It is the word aeon, which means age, or eons, like the eons of time. This is a different eon, not world, not the cosmos. The cosmos has been like it is for millions of years, and could possibly remain as such repeatedly for millions of more. There's no quote-unquote end of the world. There's only end of ages within the world, or within the universal expression of the cosmos. Anyway, I want to talk tonight about some of those kinds of metaphysical, metaphorical, quantum theory. I'm going to touch a little bit on quantum theory, and I'm certainly not an expert in it at all, but I want you to think about a little bit abstract thoughts of science, conscience. Conscience means with knowledge. Science means knowledge. When you have a conscience, that means you are aware of things. We call this an awareness movement. The consciousness or awareness. My friend Lawrence Braggs, the apostle down in Little Rock, calls it awareness. He's actually changed the name of his church from Triumph to the Awareness Center. This is a move that's spreading all across the country and across the planet. Many classical Pentecostals, as well as other fundamentalists, are changing what they think, what they believe, why they believe it, and asking how those beliefs add to or subtract from the quality of their lives. I hope you'll do the same thing. I want to talk tonight, and I had a post today, never enough time or too much time on your hands. Which is it? Do you seem like you never have quite enough time? And then does it seem like it takes too much time for you to get what you want? What do you think about and how you value time is basically what you think about and how you value or evaluate yourself. What you think about and how you value time is basically what you think about and how you value or evaluate yourself. Deepak Chopra said, thoughts are recycled information. Thoughts are recycled information. Every thought we have is actually part of a collective database. Wow, what could that mean? Thoughts are powerful. The collective database is the energy collected and accumulated by thought. Trillions of them. that have been going on since humans existed. Thousands upon thousands and thousands of years. Maybe as many as tens of thousands of years. They're still discovering how time can be estimated with new sciences. I don't understand all that, how they can study the carbon in certain things, a body, a bone. Science is amazing. Science against knowledge, of course. Again, knowledge. God. Omniscience. We really are omniscient. We're just discovering our divine selves. That part of us that knows and has always known. The part of ourselves that's not definite, but infinite. Unending, without finishing. I think it's Deepak Chopra who said, we're not human beings, something like this. We're not human beings looking for spiritual experiences. We are spirit having an earthly encounter. You are spirit. You are essence. You are immutable. You are immortal. You are immeasurable. You are immediate in spirit. Now, you're incarnated, or for some people would say incarcerated, in a human's frame, a fleshly body, which at some point will go back to the dust from whence it came. But the soul never ends or dies. When it has finished its earthly journey, it disrobes itself of the physical vehicle that it resided in during that period, whether that's 7 years or 70 years or 107 years. This is an extraordinary experience we call life, and we're in what we call the time continuum. But that doesn't mean time discontinues. We are in a time continuum called human body or earthly experience, but we go on beyond that. At my age, there's lots of death. Every time I turn around, a friend has transitioned, or their parents, or grandparents, or godparents, or a sibling. I'm 60 years old. A lot of people are not living as healthily as they could, though medicine has advanced considerably. But at this age, you just hear about death. Somebody transitioning, somebody dying, somebody going. And so I'm a little bit more conscious about that than I normally. So I'm time conscious. I'm in the second half of my life. The collective database is the energy collected again, as I said, and accumulated by thought. Trillions of them. Thoughts are powerful. They're creative. They're inventive. Your thoughts have created the time, the tune, and the tone of your life. Your thoughts, our thoughts, create the time, tune, and tone of our existence. I'll deal with that a little bit more as we go. We will define time simply as the measured distances between events and occurrences in life in the earth realm. The timelessness of true existence has no definition or confinements. You cannot define or confine time or yourself in or to it. But you are somewhat confined as it. And I don't mean that you're constrained. You are time. Let's talk first about tune. Tune means to adjust or to adapt something to a particular purpose, a situation. I like to say a frequency. When it comes to a musician or a thinker, the word music comes from the word muse, which means to think, the science of the musings. So music and thought are integrally involved, even without lyrics. Lyrics can generate through music, but music, the melodic line, the vibrations and the nuances and the ambiance and the invocations and invitations and sometimes irritation for some people of music or thought create sound. So tuning in to a certain frequency or adjusting yourself to where your thoughts are, adjusting yourself to what your spirit is communicating to and as you, is a daily discipline that all of us has to work with. Now, when I talk about thinking, the musician, that means a musician will adjust an instrument, really the mind, including the mind, to the correct or uniform pitch, tuning to the pitch with the rest of the instruments in the orchestra. They don't all sound the same. They don't all necessarily even sound alike. They just sound together. That's what the word agreement is in Greek. It's the word symphoneo, where we can think this word symphony. Same phonics. Symphony, or with harmony. With phonics, with harmony. Harmos in Greek. Joint. That's where the word joint means, or joining the same phonics, or phone. That's the Greek word for voice. Phone, P-H-O-N. It looks like an apostrophe E. Phone, Voice, the voice of God, or the phonics of God, or the phonics of spirit. Harmony, the combination of simultaneously sounded musical notes to produce chords or a chord. Remember, the word chord comes from the Greek word cardia, which means heart. So you're talking about same heart, the heart progressions, the harmony, the one chord having a pleasant effect, the harmony, the beauty of symphonic nuance in the ether or otherness, in the air, in the atmosphere, causes a calm. Remember the scripture reference to Saul, who would have fits of manic depressive. He was manic depressive, and might have been bipolar for all we know. But he would go into like fits of rage, like he was demonized. And David would come and play the harp, and the harp was like therapy. Saul would actually calm down. I do that with music as well. Sometimes I get a little anxious or a little detracted. I love to sit down to some nice, what I call smooth jazz. I just love it. It just goes through me. Sometimes there's actually a new age music channel on our direct television here, and I go to that channel. My wife puts it there all the time. It's very soothing and calming. She does her yoga, she does her meditation, she does her prayer. She's a life coach, and she's gotten into this, and I see its effect on her life, on her emotions as a female. The Greek word for uterus is hystera. The English word is hysteria, or hysterical, or hysterectomy. That's why women tend to love music, men more default in talk shows and all that. But women, your feminine side, my feminine side, loves music and creation or creative things. And we all have both a male and a masculine and feminine aspect of ourselves, a masculine and feminine self or side. Most people deny either or. I don't. I embrace my whole self. It's called integrity, your integrated self. An integrous person is a person that recognizes all that he or she is. Time fits in that. Time is woven as that in you. We're moving beyond the physical constraints of your carnal existence and transcending them, crossing over them, passing through them to the other essence of reality, of what it means to be or become. It's powerful. It's transcendent. It's transformational. It's transitional, because you transition from one state of mind to another state of mind. We're not just multidimensional. We are interdimensional people or beings. You can go from one dimension to another. You've heard me refer to Jesus saying, "In my Father's house there are many mansions." Really, he's really saying, the proper translation of the term is many dimensions, or places, spaces, apartments, compartments, floors, spheres of reality, realms, unending. You can keep on evolving. That's why I say don't try to be so definite, get stuck. Be infinite. Embrace your infinite, timeless, spaceless, endless self. So, talking about harmony, symphony, agreement, sound, heart, cardia, accord, to play the accordion, or to be of one or on one accord, to have one heart, one central focus of self and soul. The center, to center yourself. We also get the word phonics or phonetics, voice, phone, phonics, phonetics, speech, language, soul speech, spiritual language. The phonetics of the soul. This is part of the timing and tuning. So if you're tuning into the right pitch, you're tuning into the right phonics, the right phonetics, the right phone. Or you can be telephonic, telephone. You cast or hear from a distance. Somebody can call here live tonight from, and I spoke today with Edith in South Africa live. It was 10 o'clock her time this morning when I spoke. They're six or 7 hours ahead of us. Gina and I, my family, are going to Johannesburg this summer in June. That's a long way away, but I can speak to her telephonically, and she to me. It's amazing. She's a pastor whose husband I eulogized a few months ago. Precious woman. So the language of the soul, the phonics or phonetics of being, the soulish, cellular language, everything's always, there's a constant conversation going on a cellular and cellular level. All there is basically, again, this is sort of quantum theory, quantum physics, is energy. Energy. Emotion is energy in motion. Energy means activity, action. You're abuzz with activity, with action right now. They're little teeny tiny microscopic entities living on you. There's something actually sleeping or procreating on you, urinating on you, defecating on you. Right now, you'll never see it. Little tiny, and something is urinating and defecating and procreating on that. And something is doing the same thing on that. And something is doing the same on that. There's these little invisible entities that keep multiplying and producing and reproducing themselves constantly, without end, in the air, in space, on everything you touch, from your cell phone to the remote control. This little music box here, this computer, this little special camera up here. Everything is constantly moving and living. In God, we live and move and have our being. We possess our essence. We have our being, or we be and have. We behave. In spirit, behavior, being and having. Living out your essence. We reduce our visions and visuals to only the things that we can see with our eyes. I just cooked some. She said my daughter's eating now. My son ate a little earlier. Gina's in New York. We eat, we sleep. It's getting late in the Gina's in New York, so she's an hour later. Again, I mentioned Edith, Pastor Edith. She's 6 or 7 hours ahead of us. I talked to somebody in Prague today. Donnie in Prague. He's probably 6 or 7 hours beyond us. James, who puts does my web mastery, is in London, and he's from India, but he was born in Uganda. I mean, the world's getting smaller and smaller. You can turn the television on and talk to somebody, see something live. You can actually see the Olympics live without any time differentiation in Russia. Right here, live in my living room here in Chicago. It's just amazing, the world we live in, the things we've created. So time is becoming less distinctive. So obviously I'm equating tuning or pitch, the quality of sound, governed by the rate of vibrations producing it, with thoughts and the expressions of time. Timing, tuning, toning, thinking. Sound is the Greek word eikos, where we get the English word echo. And an echo is a sound out of the past that catches up with you. Light travels 186,000 miles per second. A light year is the distance that light can travel at that speed in 1 year. Figure it out. Something like 17 trillion miles. Just crazy. Sound, on the other hand, travels only 1,100 feet per second. So sound travels a lot slower than light, which means you can see farther, a lot farther, and faster than you can hear. These deja vus. But faith doesn't come by hearing. Faith comes by seeing. Faith comes by hearing. What is your soul? What is and the word here is the Greek word akouo, where we get the English word acoustics. The phonetics of sound bouncing off the walls in this room, or in a big, when we say a building, a room is really live, we'll clap our fingers, we can hear the acoustics, the sound popping off the wall, bouncing off the walls around you. It's an incredible experience, and you experience it when you hear anything. So faith is that which which is divine resonation. Resonate means to resound or repeat itself in your soul, in your spirit. It's there. It's married to time and to intonations and to vibrations and invocations and invitations. This stuff is happening all the time. You invent something in consciousness, you invite it into your reality, you think about it, it becomes your real. What you think about, you bring about. And so time works with that. Time cooperates. We said earlier that our thoughts have created, or our thoughts create the time, tune, or pitch and tone of our lives. Your thoughts have created and do create the time of your life, or the times of the tones, the literal pitch and tone of your life. The word tone is a modulation of the voice expressing a particular feeling or emotion or mood or mode or modality. Tone is adjusting the frequency or adjusting to the frequency. And toning is a modulation of the voice or the phonics or the sound, the expressing of a particular feeling or emotion or even a thought, a mood, a mode, a modality in you. And these things, ideas, ideologies, are part of consciousness, what you think. You become what you think most about. Ask yourself, what do you think about almost continually? Because that's what you're creating. We're not just created beings, we are creative beings, and we are creating beings. We're constantly producing and reproducing our own selves and our own souls. Everywhere. You leave a part of yourself in every conversation you have, in every text you text, in every email you send or receive. Phone conversation, one-on-one. You can go into a marketplace, a grocery store, or a department store, or barber's shop, or a place where they do hair for women, and you can pick up everything in there. You can go get your feet, get a pedicure or a manicure, go get a massage, go to a chiropractor's office. You're picking up and sending signals and receiving signals and communicating and carrying on conversations non-verbally all the time, as well as verbal conversations. Your cells are talking to themselves. Your blood communicates with itself. Your brain, your hair follicles, your nostrils, your earlobes, your fingers or phalanges. Every part of you is so alive. That's why death is an illusion. It's an arrogant, opulent, obstinate, extravagant illusion. We don't really die. We transition. We transcend. We transform. Constantly. Quantum theory is the theory of matter, and I say mind and energy. The theory of matter and energy, or matter, mind, thought, and energy, because thoughts are energy, everything's energy, based on the concept of quanta, or quantity. How much? Any, all, every, or just some. Anything, all things, everything, or just some things. Quantity. The amount or number of a material or matter or immaterial thing, non-matter, not usually estimated by spatial measurement. So these are non-physical entities as well as material or non-material entities or things not usually estimated by spatial measurement. Stuff. Quantum theory, theory, sometimes I like to tie that word to theos, God, the speculation of a reality we call God, the theory of divinity, some entity that's out there somewhere, or as we in expanded consciousness or new thought says God is within us as us expressing itself in the universe. We're all divinities or divine. And we're all living in a time continuum and in a continuum of time. Everything is energy, and that's all there is. This comment is given, attributed to Albert Einstein, but it's more likely a man named Darryl Anka, who is a special effects artist for several motion pictures, and he's a mystical channeler. But so was Albert Einstein, and most scientists are, though they may not say that about themselves. They're channeling truth and realities and information and science, knowledge, and they use faith to access their knowledge, though they may call themselves atheists. You can have faith without believing in the God of any particular religion, just the God of another reality. Some, I say, in the deepest reaches, rhythms, and regions of consciousness, there is a reality that many people refer to as God. Because we don't know, it really should be a nameless entity, but it's not non-experiential. I'd rather experience God than name God. I'd rather experience divinity, including my own, than give it a title. And we do experience it, but we like to title and label things because we feel like we have more control when we label them. There is a God that cannot be controlled, and that's the parts of you that evolve and extended themselves or itself without your permission. It happens by chance, but it should happen by choice. My kind of encouragement to you is to be more intentional and deliberate and even selective in what you choose to be and become or experience. The power is in you and as you, expressing itself in the world. Am I using a lot of words to get you off? I don't mean to. Even if you don't understand every single thing I say, just listening to it is an impartation. Being in the energy of what I'm saying imparts rhythmic truth to you, syncopated truth, harmonious realities to you that evolve in and as you, and you'll gain greater understanding and specification, articulation as you mature in your own self and soul. So let me make the quote of, I like to attribute it to Albert Einstein because it really sounds a little bit more authoritative, but either way, everything is energy. And that's all there is to it, he says. Match the frequency of the reality, that is the time-space continuum, that you desire, and you cannot help but get that reality. Everything is energy. And that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality that you desire, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, he says. It is physics. Isn't that interesting? Everything is energy. Match the frequency. I referred to this a couple of weeks ago. Frequency, and I'm going to simplify by saying, is that which you think about most frequently. Frequency is that which you think about most frequently. And that which you think about most frequently creates a frequency to which you are attuned and out of which you create. It's somewhat scientific. Just a little bit. Physics is the Greek word physike, estime, knowledge of nature, natural things, physics, physicality, your physical body, your spiritual body, your brains, your mind, your cells, your soul. Physics is scientific. Again, another knowledge of nature, the knowledge of things, some aspects of if you say oncology, that's the study of being, isness, essence. These are vast terms with vast realities associated and attached to them. And prayer is a kind of ontology. Thought is ontological. Imagination is ontological. It is the access and sometimes excess of being. And we all do that unconsciously. My admonishment, of course, to you is that you do it a little bit more consciously, a little bit more intentionally, so that what you create as your reality is done with intention and deliberateness rather than accidental. Accidents don't happen by choice. They happen by chance. You don't want to go through life with a bunch of chance occurrences that can be destructive to you. So get back more in control of your life by using the power of imagination and thought daily basis for years and years and years. And I still, just as a habit, get on my knees when I pray. When I meditate, I like to, most people sit in a meditative position, a yoga position. I've meditated on my prayer. I can sit like this. I can go out on we live close to the Lake Michigan here, to the Buckingham Fountains. I can see it from our window here on our terrace. I like water. I like mist and moisture and mysticism. I'm Pisces, and so I like the unfathomable depths, the mysteries of the depths of the water. And now that we move into this age of Aquarius, which is a water and air sign, mostly air, but mist and spirit is a metaphor. Water is a metaphor for spirit in Scripture, at least, and in other agencies. And so everything is interconnected. It's so powerful. It's so freeing to feel this connected. I've never felt so inwardly secure in my life. I don't even fear God. I faith God. I don't fear God. I have no terroristic faith-based theology anymore. I experience God. I express God. I love God. I do not fear God. That's the part of religion and faith that is destructive. You got to fear God. He's terrorized you. Says you love me. Believe me. If you don't, I'll send you to hell. If you believe in that God, there's no love in that. That's survival. Trying to avoid hell. That's not the faith I experience or the religion I experience or express any longer. I believe that I create my own frequencies. What I think about most frequently is what becomes the frequency in which and out of which I live and express and create. So it's very powerful to get into this new way of thinking, this new paradigm, or I call it the new wineskins. This is new wine, and new wineskin is the modality or the model in which you are living and acting out, walking and working out your salvation. Salve, the root word, your ointment, the anointment and ointment of your life, the healing of that which is fragmented in you or unresolved about you. How many times have you heard somebody say to you, hey, you got a minute? And then they proceed to take an hour or more of your time. How then do you perceive time or your time after that experience? Are you angry? Are you disappointed? Do you feel cheated? Do you feel abused? Or are you just thankful that you actually had the time for someone who really didn't necessarily want your help, but just wanted your time or attention? Because that happens. I've been counseling and coaching and tutoring and teaching and preaching for 45 years. Licensed, that is. And I would say a good portion of the people don't really want my help. They just want my time on a personal level. They like to be in my space. And I sometimes enjoy being in their space. Not always. And not everybody enjoys being in mine. So we calculate these things. We navigate these things. We negotiate time. Time, though, is our friend and our ally. But if we often make it, but we, knowing that it's there, we make it inconvenient and intimidating, an enemy or an adversary. It's really our friend. It's really our ally, but we make it an adversary. We make it an enemy. We allow time to intimidate us. We have a sort of a love-hate relationship with time, never seeming to have enough of it, while simultaneously having too much of it. When I say too much, it takes too much time for some of us to gain or become or get what we think we want, or become who we think we want to become. When is it going to happen? When is it going to come? The day is too long, or the night is too short, or the night is too long, and the day is too short. And we wrestle with, it's like my grandfather said, general rule, man is a fool. When it's hot, he wants it cool. When it's cool, he wants it hot. He always wants what he haven't got. My 84-year-old grandfather, the long transition to my mother's father, used to say that to me. For example, we tend to think time is taking, again, too long to bring us what we want or make us, as I said, what we want to become. We wrestle with time constantly, complaining and protesting that it doesn't cooperate with our chosen and prescribed schedules or agendas. We're wrestling with time. The soul, your soul, knows all there is to know in time, as time, all the time. Let me say that again. The soul, yours, knows, this part is Deep October, knows all there is to know in time. But I say your soul knows all there is to know in time, as time, really all the time, when you're conscious. When you're unconscious or unaware or hypnotized, sleep in a slumber, then the power of suggestion creates something or makes you create something that isn't a reality for you and becomes one. So your soul, psyche in Greek, psyche in English, thought life, psychology, the psychic part of you, knows all there is to know in time, as time, all the time. I've been rereading Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh, who I will hear speak at the Revelation Conference in D.C. with my friend Michael Beckwith. I spoke, 5 or 6 years ago, and I've missed only one since. I really love it. So I've been rereading Conversations with God, one of the most brilliant books I think I've ever put my hands on. And I want to paraphrase to you something I read on the plane from New York City this week. There are things hidden in your soul but there's nothing hidden from your soul or as your soul. I'm quoting Neil Walsh. There are things hidden in your soul, I say, but there is nothing hidden to your soul and nothing unknown to it. There are things hidden in your soul, your psyche and your psyche, in your spirit, but there's nothing hidden to your soul and nothing unknown to your soul or by it. Yet knowing is not enough. Science is not enough. The soul seeks to experience itself and to experience in general. My soul loves to experience its essence, its divinity, its infinity. So knowing it is conceptually goes to experiencing it in another reality. I think that's why God would have created us, if God or some entity created us, so that God could experience itself humanly and experience itself as us, not be confined to us or defined by us, but to experience an aspect of itself on a human level. That sort of makes sense. Donald Walsh says one of the deepest mysteries in the earth experience is that life is not a process. No, that's not Walsh. That's Deepak. That one of the deepest experiences, mysteries in the earth experience, is that life is not a process of discovery, but a process of creation. I say it's a process of recovery. It's not just the process of discovery, it's a process of recovery and or creation. Creation is an act of recovering what already and always exists. That's all creation is. You're actually recovering something that always is. Because what really is, always and always will be. The ethereal, ether. You know the word born again, the term again is the Greek word anothen, A-N-O-T-H-E-R, or T-H-E-N, anothen, where we get our English word another. An ether in the ethereal world, the ethereal world, the transcendent reality. Everything exists that always has existed and always will exist. And as Solomon said, there's nothing new. It's just recovered or unveiled. This is why most of us have subconscious love-hate relationship with ourselves. Because we are both a fact and function of time. We are time. Life doesn't just happen to us. Life happens as us. Life happens through us. We are a function and fact of time. Sometimes we're a pause in time, or the pivot of time, or the bridge within time or of time. So that's why we have this subconscious love-hate relationship with ourselves. We tend to perceive our self-worth and our self-doubt based on how our time is spent. When you lay your head on a pillow, which most of you should be doing in an hour or two, I won't till I never go to bed before midnight, but I'm in the Central Time, Standard Time. When you lay your head down, most of us tend to regret how our time was spent or not spent. We regret something we did or didn't do. There never seems to be enough time in a day, 24-hour period. All we have is time. All we are is time. And the clock and the calendar are our friends because they prove, disprove, approve, or improve anything. The clock and the calendar, they are your friends, as is time. It's your ally. I'm always that. And I've always sort of projected, even when I was in college. Of course, before I went to college, I wondered and fantasized and imagined what my extended life would be, what my adult life would be, what I would become, because I wanted to be a doctor. And I wanted to be a preacher, but not full-time. The only full-time preacher I knew was my pastor. The other pastors were janitors, Elder Booker and Elder Bennett. Oceana Buford, O.B. Bennett and O.B. Booker. I loved those men. And but they were janitors and custodians. Bishop Blake was not, but he was a well-read man. He was not formally educated. He came from Arkansas country, the sticks of Arkansas, but he died a millionaire. His son is now the presiding bishop of the denomination that I was reared at, the Church of God in Christ. Most of the founders and leaders of that movement came out of the South, and they were impoverished and they were uneducated, but they became giants in their lifetime. Self-made men, most of them. Amazing people. People of faith and obedience and discipline and prayer. So I have all that in my roots, and I remember as a little kid feeling this. What am I want to be? Who do I want to be? And I did not know at 6 or 8 years old, or maybe even at 14, what I wanted to be. I knew first of all what I didn't want to be, and that is poor and uneducated, and angry and unforgiving, and sloppy and slouchy. And I didn't want to be unspiritual or carnal. I didn't want to be an alcoholic or drug addict, and I had a lot of that in my family. So so by the process of elimination, I began to embrace who I am and who I am becoming, and with great tenacity. So the ageless, spaceless, timeless, skinless, and endless aspect of our deeper human essence is our infinite self and soul, our spirit. And that spirit, that soul, recognizes the struggle in our psyche with our perceived human time restraints and constraints. So there's this psychic battle, feeling intimidated by time that we have or have too much of it, waiting for something to happen. Time doesn't come and go. We actually move through time as time. I'm saying all this because it releases a lot of tension in you, too much stress. And so the constraints and restraints of time, these are actually illusions. But we tend to actualize them in consciousness by inaccurate perceptions of them, especially of ourselves and time, ourselves in time, ourselves as time. We struggle with those perceptions, and some people don't even have them. Or you don't recognize them, or you refuse to recognize them. You ignore the fact that you are time, that you express yourself as time, in-tuned, and intoned. You are vibrations. You are 80% water in a natural sense, salt water. There's 100,000 miles of arteries in your body, most of them microscopic, but many of them very visual. Invisible, and in them is coursing vein, water, in those veins, moisture, blood, hemoglobin, salt water. You say we actually all came from the sea. Your sweat is salty, your tears are salty. So there's a lot of part of the moisture and fluidity of your being. So that's why vibrations are important, because since you're so much water, you can drop water ripples, water flows, there are waves in water, there are vibrations, water's movement. So not only what you're named, but what you're called does cause cellular and cellular responses. Jen is studying biblical numerology right now with the Bishop E. Bernard Jordan in New York. She got so fascinated by his introduction, she stayed over the whole week, and I came home, and she's been texting and calling me every day. She'll be home on Saturday, and we're going to go over all the stuff she learned about the vibrations and sounds and numbers and figures, because we're all trying to figure it out anyway. So figures like numbers and letters and symbols do affect us. Reading does. Literature, literalness, letters. But the Bible says the letter or literal kills, spirit gives life. Meaning if you only literally translate Scripture, you'll find death everywhere. You must approach it by the Spirit. All we really have in this life is time, because that is essentially and basically who and what we are. Time is like the air we breathe, inhaling and exhaling it all day, every day. So the clock and calendar is our trusted friend. It's an ally. Because, as I said earlier, that can prove, the clock and calendar, prove, disprove, approve, or improve anything. Everything. Time is a clearing space, but only the illusion of reality. Time is the clearing space. It's a continuous area or expanse that is free. available, unoccupied, unobligated. That's who you are. That's what you have. We must transcend the illusion of time restraints or constraints, and then embrace the expanded consciousness of freedom and limitless expression and experience. Embrace it. You're not tied down. You're not tied up. It's just the way you think about yourself. Of course, if you perceive yourself that way, then you are. No, you're free. Again, you are, that's why I said we must transcend the illusion of time restraints or constraints, and then embrace the expanded consciousness of freedom and limitless expression and experience. This is all going to go in one of my books. I write everything, of course. This is my dear friend, sister, I call her friend and sister, LaDonna, in Atlanta. She posted today, a great victory. I love this statement, and this is her statement. A great victory is realizing that life is less about conquering and more about navigating. Wow. It's less about conquering and more about navigating, and I would also add negotiating. So, life in truth is not a coronation. It's a destination. It's a journey. You're not going to be crowned with some ultimate end. There is no end. You're infinite, so you don't really stop. You might get a few awards along the way or rewards, but there's no ultimate end to infinity. God keeps it evolving as itself. And it's expressed in the planet, the galaxies. There are billions of galaxies, and we're just one of billions. And our planet is one of the smallest planets out there. There's so much to learn. So enjoy your birthright and gift of time. We've been discussing time management, time measurements, if that's possible, and how to honor time in, with, and as you. So relax into time. And relax into it as it is and as you are in it. Remember, time is our friend. Time is our ally. Time is not your enemy. Time is not your nemesis. And even if it were, the best thing to do with an enemy is make it a friend. How about that? How about doing that? And doing it with zeal. And doing it with accuracy. And doing it with full faith. And getting in touch with your I am self. And embracing who that is. Becoming who that is. Evolving into who that is. Feeling the essence and articulation. The immutable, immortal, immeasurable, immediate you. The I am. The Amen. The Om. Time. That's who you are. An angel asked me, who are you? The question and the answer. Whoa. Song of the sages. Knowledge of the ages. Is living where you reside. You are the key. You unlock your own door. Enter in that sacred place where you haven't gone before. Deep meets deep. Soul to soul. Feel that connection as the truth unfolds. I am. I am. You are. I am. We are. I am. You are. I love that. He's usually at Revelation Conference in LA. This year it's in DC. So start taking that in. Wrap your arms around yourself if you have the time before you leave. Hug you. You're special. You're special. Special comes from the word species. You're part of the species of reality. The species of essence. The species of ambience. Of isness. Of consciousness. Of awareness. We're one. Child of the creation. But known by different names. Alpha and Omega. I love this. eternal thing, burning deep inside you. I am. I am. From the rocks to the trees. I am. All the stars and constellations. I gotta go. You can tell I'm having fun. I love music. I love this music. I love you. If you enjoyed what you heard tonight and you received from it, let me hear from you. Go right to the little donate button. And tonight, put something there. Because you don't only reap where you sow, you may not always reap where you sow, but you will reap what you sow. So sow into the fertile soil of this. Many made comments that they enjoyed the program with Gina and I because it was wide and the camera was much more articulate. We want to do more of that. It takes time, it takes effort. I got to have another staff person. We're working on all that. So your support helps us expand who we are, who we reach, what we're doing. Pretty exciting, and I want you to be a part of it. So again, I ask every week. I need each one of you can do probably at least $10. Some can do $50. Some can do $100. Especially if you've never done anything before. Some send $10 a week, $20, $5 a session. Coaching costs. My wife is a life coach. It'll cost you like $150 if you go through the Zoe ministry that she works with in New York. She's one of the coaches, licensed coach. I talked to you for about an hour, actually 40 minutes. 50 minutes, and I don't charge you. I mean, if it was one-on-one, I'd have to, pay for my time if I coached you personally. But just to corporately and collectively share, you should do something. Because there's no cost. Actually, if you don't get it live, you can go back to the archives. We don't sell it. Now, later on, I could have all this stuff re-edited and, made high-quality DVDs and sell it for people to have in their own libraries, but most of it you can just get online. And but there's so many things we want to do. We want to have cruises. We want to invite you to special resorts and go into different cities and have 2 or 3 days with one-on-one with me. And we just share and interact. Gina comes with me, and we'll have to put a charge on that because we'll rent hotels. And the cruises are wonderful. And I hope that you could become a part of the cruises one of these days and experience that part of what we do. It'll be fun. Anyway, let's help build this church without walls, this cyber church without walls. Help me do that with your weekly, monthly, or regular gifts. If it's just 2 or 3 times a year, you give a large donation, tax-deductible donation. But go to the donate button and do something. I want everyone who heard me do something. At least $10, but I think most of you can do a little bit more than that. I think you will. Okay? I love you. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your consciousness. Thanks for your attention. The best is indeed yet to come, for sure. Do you believe that? Let's see. I got a book here that I don't need to have. Wait a minute. I did something. I don't know how this got here. I'm trying to cut this thing off. What am I doing? Oh, my gosh. Something jumped up here, and I don't know what it is. Let's see. Where am I? Okay, there I am. Good night. Thank you. There I finally came back. That's the human part of me. Good night. God bless.